Steam just announced that they're ending Google Analytics support. Find out what that means for you, plus all the updates about UTM tracking. Hi, game developers and game marketers. Thanks for jumping in. So today I just wanted to talk about Steam UTM links and tracking. So Steam recently announced quite a few updates coming out of GDC. One of the ones we were particularly interested in was anything about UTM tracking and just traffic tracking in general. So if, like me, you've been working with Steam for quite a while now, you'll have known the pain of having to deal with the Steam tracking. So Steam, pretty rudimentary with its analytics. It has got better over the years. Not too bad for internal traffic. Can at least see roughly where things are coming from internally. You can kind of figure out whether homepage has sent you traffic, whether kind of other segments of the Steam site has sent you traffic. But when it came to your marketing activities, really quite bad and poor visibility on what you were doing in the market. So they introduced UTM tracking a while ago, which was a step in the right direction. Unfortunately, didn't really work. So at best, we've seen maybe 20%, 30% visibility on what's happening in market, or what your activity was being reflected then in the UTM tracking. So better than nothing, but still not really very helpful. Lots of holes in it. Not really much support around that from Steamworks either. So it was very interesting to see this update come through. However, maybe a bit of a double-edged sword. So first off, the biggest kind of upset and maybe change is that they're ending support for Google Analytics. So if you're using Google Analytics any advanced way, maybe you're putting your data into Analytics and then pull it into other sheets and things, that's all going to disappear. You're going to lose all of that. So if you've been relying on Google Analytics as a middleman between you and data sheets and other things that you're doing, you're going to have some problems there. So it may be, though, that you can obviously just use Steamworks directly and get into it that way. But if you've been using Google Analytics, that's going. By July, that will be gone, and you won't be able to use Google Analytics with Steamworks anymore. So the reason that Steam have said they're doing that is from a privacy concerns point of view. They don't like Google. This isn't unfamiliar territory for big platforms. Quite a few platforms and larger companies that are starting to get wary of how Google uses their data and what it's doing with it. But from a marketer point of view, obviously Google Analytics is quite useful. We're used to using that. It's nice and simple. We've grown up working with that. So that going away and then being replaced with what is quite a poor rudimentary tool could be a bit of a problem. So they are adding new features in to compensate around this, though. So we can kind of go through some of the information that they've posted here and kind of discuss what we think might be happening. So first and foremost, they're obviously changing away from Google Analytics, like I say, privacy concerns. They're also just generally becoming more privacy focused, which is great for players, not so great for marketers, because we are very nosy. We like to know where our traffic's come from. We like to know what channels are providing the best return on investment, so that we can optimize that forwards. So the more privacy that gets put into these kind of things, the harder that job tends to become. So it's always a bit of a balancing act between obviously player concerns over who's tracking who, and not wanting anyone to be tracking what they're doing, and marketers who are just trying to figure out which of their channels they should put more money into, to generate more revenue. So yeah, bit of a problem there that we've always had to deal with and figure out. So the other update that they're bringing in is general traffic reporting improvements. So more visibility into geographic breakdown. So is your Steam traffic coming from China? Is it coming from UK? Is it coming from America, Canada, Brazil? We've always had that kind of level of detail, but they're going to be able to kind of drill into that a little bit more, especially on the UTM side. So hopefully we'll see some improvements on that. So the other updates are to the UTM system itself. So we can have a little look at that. So increased tracking percentage. So we haven't been told how much that's going to be, though. It was already pretty low. Hopefully we'll get more visibility, but again, Steam are always trading off kind of player privacy concerns versus what developers want. I think Steam are always going to come down in favor of players to make sure that players are protected, because that's their revenue source, that's their biggest concern always, and rightly so. But again, from a marketing perspective, it makes things difficult when you're trying to kind of push your marketing dollars in the right place. They're going to improve the conversion tracking, so that increase the window around that, potentially give you a little bit more visibility. Again, how accurate that will be remains to be seen. We talked about that geographic breakdown as well. Again, very important for me to know, okay, is my marketing in France working better than my marketing in Germany? Are my ads working better in French than Japanese, etc.? Lots more information about devices as well. So again, historically, Steam's not really been too bothered about that. But increasingly, we're all shopping on mobile and then playing on PC. So again, understanding the split and how your marketing needs to work between those two platforms, because of tracking concerns, a lot of certainly our clients have always wanted to run their ads just for PC, because they'll get the visibility in the right format for the tracking, not necessarily the right format to get the players to convert, which is not necessarily a great thing. So again, more visibility around mobile is going to be good, but again, will we see enough? New versus returning customers as well, or users rather. So how many people are returning to your page could be interesting if you've got big developed communities, to see kind of how your community updates are performing and whether they're bringing players back to your page, and how that affects kind of community management going forward. But also just how conversion rates impacted by people coming backwards and forwards, and how long it takes to convert people into a sale or an update. So those are the main updates. Like I said, the big news is really that Google Analytics is going away, and they're making some improvements to the overall tracking and UTM process that they have internally. Really a little bit cynical though, unfortunately, having used it for quite a few years, to see whether or not this is a step in the right direction. It's still probably better than what we've got. It's a bit of a pain that we're losing the Google Analytics, although again, Google Analytics didn't obviously track through anything either, because it was only good as the data that Steam's sending it. So bit of a sideswipe for GA. Interesting new updates around the tracking ability. Whether or not that helps game devs and marketers really figure out what channels are working best, we'll have to wait and see. I suspect it's still only going to be a bit of a rubber band over what is a pretty big understanding of how your marketing works from a Steam perspective. Again, problems that we see across the board on all platforms, but it would have been nice if Steam, having taken away GA, had given quite a lot extra in this space. But hopefully it's something that will keep improving over time. Okay, that's enough from us today, but I'd love to find out what you think about Steam UTM tracking, what you think about the Steam UI around tracking and data in general is like, whether you're excited about this update, whether or not, again, a bit like me, a little bit cynical. It'd be great. So in the comments, please let us know what you think, and look out for more updates in the future from us about everything game dev. All right, guys, thanks a lot.